All right. They made being gay illegal again, or something, type shit. It looks like the Supreme Court is going to be ruling against conversion therapy bans. So yeah, if you're a queer kid in a red state, good luck. I don't know. Well, actually, not even just a red state. I mean, blue states can have. Well, yeah, no, it's not even red state because they're going to ban the ability to ban it in blue states. So yeah, no. If you're queer and a kid, good luck. I guess I don't know. Have to wait till you're 18 to be gay or trans or whatever. Yeah, legal everywhere. Yeah, yeah, it undoes blue state bans. That's pretty crazy. The Supreme Court, huh? Worst court in the nation. States' rights, by the way. We don't believe in those. Now that Republicans control the federal government, we don't give a shit about states' rights. Did you see the latest OECD report? Just link the report. A majority of the Supreme Court signaled Tuesday it is prepared to rule against Colorado's ban on conversion therapy for minors, with several justices indicating they sympathize with a licensed counselor who says the law violates her First Amendment rights. In one of the most significant cases the High Court will address this year, the justices were asked to decide if states may ban the discredited practice, which purports to, quote, convert gay people to heterosexuality or transgender people to cisgender. The outcome could have sweeping implications. Advocacy groups say roughly half of the United States have banned the therapy for minors. During a surprisingly low-key and short 90-minute session, yeah, obviously, because 6 of them already have, or maybe 5 of them. You know, something tells me Amy Coney Barrett might be on the other side of this. I'm not sure. Either Barrett or Roberts. I'm calling a 5-4, okay? We'll see. Can we have some straight conversion therapy at least? That would actually be like the ultimate dark woke response for private camps to start setting up, like to convert your straight children to gay, and then when that inevitably gets brought to court, you fight it there. That would be pretty dark woke. That'd be very funny. It is worth noting, by the way, that like what I just described, as crazy as it sounds, is literally just what they're fighting to do right now. I don't place any inherent moral weight on being straight, gay, cis, or trans. So from the perspective of from the evidence-based perspective of neutral consideration, it is equally as insane as what they're advocating for right now. Straight conversion therapy is when you're locked in a room and forced to watch every episode of RuPaul. Actually, I never feel more straight than when watching RuPaul. So it works in the opposite direction unless you're already gay, I think. Maybe you need like a particular kind of homosexuality. Kaylee Chiles, a licensed counselor in Colorado, has challenged the law on those grounds. Her faith-informed counseling would be speech only, and she says her clients would voluntarily seek her services. She rejects the term conversion therapy and instead describes the work she hopes to do as helping clients who, quote, have a goal to become comfortable and at peace, end quote, with their bodies. Yeah. I hate these people, holy. Yeah, they're basically like pedo camps too. Can you imagine the kind of adult who would choose to work at a gay conversion therapy camp? There's no way they're not a pedophile, right? Like that's the literally like you're signing up to be in a position of sort of maximal pedophilia enactment. Alito questions health consensus, of course, obviously. Alliance Defending Freedom, a religious law group, has argued those studies. Oh, sorry, I'll start from the beginning of the section. Colorado and other states have pointed to research showing the practice doesn't work and can be harmful. Some of that research shows it increases a person's risk of suicide and can cause other long-term health problems like depression, anxiety, and high blood pressure. Children who undergo conversion therapy are more than twice as likely to run away. But Alliance Defending Freedom, a religious law group, has argued those studies conflate aversive forms of therapy with the kind of talk therapy their client Chiles wants to engage with. So I guess their argument here is like, oh, no. You're talking about the abusive kind of conversion therapy. We only want to do like a mystical, non-abusive kind. And trust us, we'll definitely never do the abusive thing. It's all talk therapy. You know, just talk. Just nice, voluntary, non-coercive talk where the child has been sent here and can't leave. And also trust us. Trust us. Colorado can't prove harm because it hasn't cited a study focusing on what's at issue here, voluntary speech between a licensed professional and a minor. It's not voluntary. The minor didn't sign up to be here. The minor is being sent there. Also, it's incredibly hypocritical because, like, your argument against minor trans healthcare argues against this here. How can you possibly argue that voluntary speech between a licensed professional and a minor is always protected and then also ban, like, consultation with a gender clinician for a minor? The fascists are hypocritical. I found a loophole. Kavanaugh silent. Really? Kavanaugh? I really would have expected the one dissenting voice to have been Barrett or Roberts. I guess Kavanaugh has also been, like, occasionally, by the standards of this administration, in the dark woke camp. It's crazy. It's crazy that this is like a controversial position, you know? highest court in the land suggests that the federal government might not be able to treat you with complete impunity and might face legal repercussions for breaking the law. What? Sometimes I wonder what the benefits Republicans get from being this demonic and evil, because they don't really get any monetary benefit from letting children be tortured, lose the bright in their eyes. Well, it reaffirms religious liberty. But more important than religious liberty, of course, is parental authority. Republicans love parental authority. In fact, quite a bit of the Hitlerite shit in this country is framed in the context of like, well, this empowers parents to make decisions about their children. Because in a lot of ways, especially to a conservative family, right, the father and the mother over the children, it's like the first hierarchy. It's the first authoritarianism. To a small child, it's literally the first authority they encounter and deal with. And it's an absolute authority in their lives. This is a, again, psychosexual dynamic that Republicans are obsessed with. And I say psychosexual and not just psycho, because the way like conservative fathers are obsessed with their daughter's purity, they're not beating the allegations, is what I'm saying, okay? Promise rings, mom, or the dad and the daughter, the purity ball shit. There's a lot of shit that Republicans get up to. I mean, Jesus, the House Majority Speaker is in a porn vow with his son, where they both disclose their internet search histories to each other over text, so they can make sure that they're not jerking it to porn. Somebody said PBS covered this poorly. In what way did PBS cover this?
The U.S. Supreme Court began a new term today, marking the first day of oral arguments. One of the marquee cases of this term will be argued tomorrow. A challenge to a ban on so-called conversion therapy for youth. The practice broadly refers to attempts to change a person's sexual orientation or gender identity. It's banned in 23 states and the District of Columbia. By one estimate, some 350,000 LGBTQ adults received conversion therapy as adolescents.
Cool.
The Supreme Court declined to hear challenges to such.
Speaker Mike Johnson and daughter were profiled attending Purity Ball in 2015 German TV news segment. Oh, well, there you go. There you go. I didn't know that he did that with his daughter. I only knew about the porn disclosure thing with what is a Purity Ball. It's when you take your daughter on a date to like prom, but the point of the prom visit is when the daughter promises you that she won't let anyone else have sex with her until another man claims her in marriage. When you hand your daughter, who is yours, off to the husband. That's not an exaggeration. That's explicitly what it's about. Nice wording. That's literally what it's about. That's why the father hands the daughter off in the marriage ceremony. It's pedo shit, basically? Yes, it's extremely pedophilic. Yeah, listen. The German news segment documented Johnson and his family preparing for and then attending a Purity Ball, a controversial formal dance event popular among some conservative Christians that gained notoriety in the early 2000s. At a typical event, fathers and their teenage daughters dress in formal ball attire for a night that involves dinner, dancing, and culminates with the daughter signing a pledge to her father to abstain from dating and to remain sexually abstinent until marriage. Yeah, it's all just pedophilia. It's just pedophile shit. It's not making it up. Anyway, why are we looking at the PBS segment?
Bans in the past. But, as Stephanie Sy reports, this case is being heard against a backdrop of intensifying cultural and political debates around LGBTQ rights. And a warning, this story includes discussion.
That's belief. I think the church is.
Oh, that's the bitch. That's the lady.
Against a backdrop of intensifying cultural and political debates around.
And then every step you take.
That's the lady.
Kaylee Childs has been a licensed counselor in Colorado Springs for about 10 years. Her clients are mostly adults, but she sees some families and adolescents too. And sometimes clients seek her help specifically because she's Christian.
That is the worldview on which all of my other activities lie. And so that's just going to be an inevitable part of anybody coming and talking to me.
This is a very Colorado-coded, like, Christian therapist, I have to say. She's really in her element.
Meet them and we have a conversation. What goals, if they already have goals in mind, do they think counseling will help them accomplish?
But right now, Childs says the state of Colorado prevents her from helping some clients reach their goals. In 2019, Colorado passed a law banning treatment for those under 18 that, quote, attempts or purports to change an individual's sexual orientation or gender identity, including efforts to change behaviors or gender expressions or to eliminate or reduce sexual or romantic attraction or feelings toward individuals of the same sex. Licensed providers who violate it face a $5,000 fine and potential loss of their license. This week, the Supreme Court is hearing a challenge to Colorado's ban. The lawsuit, backed by the Trump administration, was brought by Kaylee Childs, who argues the ban infringes on her right to free speech.
The only care that we're talking about is conversations with people who are voluntary and who are coming to my office because they want to see me. The care that is at stake in this lawsuit is that we are allowed to speak freely and that we are allowed to, by the product of that, sort through feelings, sensations, thoughts, beliefs. It's truly that we can have a conversation without the government peering into our private counseling conversation and dictating what we can and cannot talk about.
Supporters of the ban say it's not a question of free speech, but professional conduct, regulating health care by prohibiting a practice that research has shown to be not only ineffective, but also associated with a roughly twofold increase in suicide attempts.
Yeah, so this was in Spain.
Joyce Calvo's daughter, Alana Chen, was a devout Catholic who wanted to become a nun. But when she was just 14, Chen confessed to a priest that she was attracted to other girls.
He went on to tell her that was a mortal sin, which is the worst sin, you know, and it's very scary for a child to think they're going to burn in hell. And he was just telling her all these books to read and that I can help you, and she was afraid, so she wanted that help.
Christians are so unchristian, man. There's literally no reading of the Bible at all that suggests it's the worst sin or a mortal sin. No more so than mixing fabrics in your clothes. Like it's just, again, I not to do the Reddit atheist thing or whatever. Remember when the other day, I don't remember if it was the new Pope or the old one, the Wope in either case, who said like homosexuality is a sin, but it's not really a big deal. That's literally Catholicism. Like you sin, technically the way you slam your car door shut is a sin. Have you ever like been jealous of your neighbor's delicious watermelon as they brought it from the car inside, you know? That was Francis? Yeah. That's sin in Catholicism. Like it's sin to be to have to be a sodomite or whatever. Okay, well, you know, whatever. We all sin. Say your Hail Marys. Just put the Hail Marys in the confessional.
After her confession to the priest,
mixing fabrics is an example of Jewish law and is treated differently in Christianity. Yeah, well, it's the Old Testament, but you'll never guess where the whole stoning a man who lies with another man comes from. You'll never guess which testament that one comes from as well. Did Jesus talk about homosexuality? No, couldn't have been that important.
Calvo says Chen received almost a decade of conversion therapy and religious counseling hidden from her parents. Chen later described her experiences and emotions in her own words.
I think the church's counsel is what led me to be hospitalized. I was feeling so much shame that I was comforted by the thought of hurting myself.
Chen died by suicide in 2019 when she was just 24.
I didn't want anyone to know why.
So why did somebody say this PBS coverage was bad? Like, it seems to me that this coverage it's not exactly like enabling the viewpoint of the Christian conservatives. What about this is damaging? Probably because they platform the evil lady. I never want to hear the word platform again, okay? Platform. That she's the one bringing the case.
With these experiences.
Julia Sadusky is a clinical psychologist.
Anymore. Can a clinician set that goal and be within the ethical sort of framework that you all have as licensed practitioners?
Therapy is not just about talking. It's about psychological interventions.
It's about spending lots of money.
Research behind them. When my clients come in and they do want to change their attractions, let's say, or they want to align with their sex. It's not that as a therapist I'm arbitrating that and I'm saying you're not allowed to have that goal. What I'm doing is I'm bringing in what we know from research. And what I can tell you from the research is we do not have clear protocols that help people align with their sex. And we don't have clear protocols that have been effective in changing sexual orientation.
Sadusky also argues that the ban doesn't actually prohibit the kinds of conversations Kaylee Childs wants to have with her clients.
To the credit of whoever drafted this law, they wrote into the law that you are allowed to help people with identity exploration and identity development. I don't know how much more clear a law could be about the valuing of identity work, the valuing of exploration, without having a fixed.
So obsessed with wanting to talk about the sexuality of kids creepy. It's super, super creepy, right? Like they couch it, they try to couch it in therapy language, but at the end of the day, what it comes across as they're being like really, really excited about getting a 13-year-old to sit down so they can talk about like you know, exploring their identity, right? We're not, people talk about gender clinicians as though that's what they do. A gender clinician will talk to a kid about like their feelings and like their medical history and their expectations for the future, stuff like that. You know, it's not just this foo-foo bullshit where they sit you down and they like try to explore the cloisters of your heart by probing all of your inner feelings or whatever, you know? That's more of a therapy thing, not just like clinical work. And even then, therapy has rules, and there are bad therapists and there are good therapists, and it's obvious these people just want to convert people out of being gay.
Outcome.
But some disagree.
It's very explicit that this is a requirement of the law, that you cannot do anything but affirm or ignore.
Wait, do people in chat not realize this person supports the ban law? This person? I don't know. I blanked out because I was reading chat. I was talking about the first lady, who isn't this lady. I think this lady's also... This lady is saying that you can still do the therapy stuff in a way that doesn't like contradict the wording of the law. She's opposed to conversion therapy as described by the state law. This lady is not, as evidenced by the fact that her only qualification here is mother. If you see a person talking in a news segment and the only thing describing them is that they're a mother or a father, you know you're in for some Hitlerite shit.
And that's my experience.
In northern Colorado, Erin Lee says her daughter Chloe began abruptly questioning her gender identity several years ago.
We didn't know how to talk about it, and we didn't want to say anything we couldn't take back, and so we just totally ignored it. We didn't affirm, so we didn't call her the new name. We also didn't say, you're not trans, that's not real.
Lee eventually contacted...
First of all, nice trad wife dress, looks like shit. Second of all, honestly, it just sounds like you're a huge pussy. I don't know. I guess I can't really imagine having a kid and like you've raised the kid, like you've dealt with so much stuff parenting wise. You've had to have so many conversations with them, and then they pitch you like an underhanded throw, like a softball of, oh, I'm having some questions here and there. You can't just talk about it with them. You people freeze up. It's crazy. You're not fit to be parents. It's not even an ideological thing. It's just like, why the f are you so weird?
Multiple therapists, but couldn't find the right fit.
We found a Christian counselor. We were not Christian at the time, but we were...
Oh my God. At the time, you converted to Christianity just to legitimize your reactionary political positions? That, you know what? That's a lot more honest than them pretending they were Christian the whole time.
Looking for someone who wasn't going to automatically affirm. She went through like 6 of these sessions, and she was getting worse. Mentally, she was becoming more withdrawn, more dark, and we thought, why isn't she getting better? But I now understand it's because counselors they're afraid to touch this issue. They know they can't do what they're trained to do, which is ask questions and get to the root cause of why this person's feeling that way, or help them through it.
These people are such pussy. Just say you want to convert your son or non-binary child. I don't give a f, okay? Just say you want to convert them. This, like, well, you want them to explore their feelings. Okay, so what happens if they go to a counselor and they explore their feelings, and then this person comes out more confirmed ever in their identity? No matter what happens, this mom would always say that the being not like trans is an aberration. Like, any outcome that leads in that direction would have been a bad outcome. Like, you're outcome oriented. You're not just looking for a process here. You're looking for an outcome. So just admit you're looking for the outcome.
But in our daughter's case, she didn't want to feel that way.
Chloe, who is now 16 and no longer identifies as a boy, has since spoken out about her experience.
Oh, this is the biggest case of woke whiplash you're going to get when you hit college. Jesus.
I can certainly think of adolescents and people who I've witnessed suffer from this law.
Back in Colorado Springs, Kaylee Childs says she's had to turn away clients because she believes the law forces her to avoid certain conversations.
Good. That's good. That's what the law is meant to do. Yeah, that's the point. Yeah, the law is meant to prevent you from doing the bad thing. So you're like, well, I want to do the bad thing.
The consequence is a $5,000 fine and the loss of your license, which is the loss of your career and your livelihood. That's
good.
Not a
You
risk
should have lost your license. You clearly don't deserve it.
Many people are willing to take.
Colorado officials say they haven't taken action against any provider since the law took effect.
That's insane. What the is the point of putting a law like that into action if you're not going to enforce it? We need to be way more judicious in taking people's licenses away, man. There are so many quack doctors and quack therapists out there that just continue decades after they turned insane, continue to make a mockery of the sciences.
But if the High Court overturns the ban, its supporters, like Joyce Calvo and Simon Kent Fung, believe the impacts will be sweeping.
I think the tragic outcome of this is likely that we're going to see more kids feeling alienated from their families and despairing. What we're likely going to see are more stories like Alana's.
Alana eventually realized the conversion therapy wasn't working, and her writings took on a different tone.
I always thought there must be something wrong with me, not wrong with God or his rules. I feel like I've been fooled all this time. I'm so angry, I'm hurt, I still feel broken.
Seems like things are going great.
By then, it was too late. Her faith and her life were lost.
Well,
for the PBS NewsHour, I'm Stephanie Sy in Colorado.
Okay, again, who the linked this and said PBS was handling it badly? No one is going to watch this PBS segment and think that they're in favor of removing the conversion therapy ban. Seems pretty clear to me that, you know, I'm again, PBS is not allowed to be like super explicitly partisan, but I feel like, I mean, I'm happy to have watched the video. So does that mean, so did the son kill himself after everything here was, the interviews were conducted? Did the suicide take place? Because they had him on film, right? That was him in the sweatshirt next to the mom in the kitchen. Different family? Okay, sorry. Then I would have gotten that mixed up. Okay, gotcha. You're mixing up family. Okay, I'm mixing up families. Fine, okay. Not the son, the daughter. Okay, gotcha. Okay, yeah. Okay, thank you. As a survivor, they're very clearly two sides in this shit. I don't think this video two sides it at all. Not even a little bit. The New York Times probably would, because the New York Times is evil and is a Hitlerite organization, and it always has been. NPR is limited in what they can do. I wouldn't be surprised if they softballed it a little bit, but they probably don't want to come across as too partisan. I would have to read like their full coverage. Yeah. That being said, like I do think it's worth remembering that no matter how hard they try, nothing is turning back the clock. Nothing is turning back the clock on gay and trans people being out there in the limelight, okay? Yeah, we're getting a little bit of cultural backlash, whatever. Theo Von and Joe Rogan are already trying to rinse their hands of Donald Trump, okay? The MAGA movement is temporal, all right? The presence of gay and trans people is eternal. That shit is not changing. They're not going back in the closet. It's just not happening, okay? You know, just a couple of days ago, there was another massive pride march in Budapest, in Hungary, where those pride marches are illegal. There was another one. You can't put the lid on this. It's not possible. It's too tied to the human spirit, you know? A little bit like women's rights. I think in a materialist sense, you could argue that homophobia and transphobia... Oh, it wasn't in Budapest, it was in Pécs? Okay, it was in the countryside. Okay, in Hungary then, not in Budapest. Gotcha. Another major city. Gotcha. But you get incognito gays like Fuentes? Oh yeah, incognito. Plus, half the people who watch Fuentes are gay too, and they all know it, okay? They're all... furry chasers, girl dick, etc. Come on, everyone's been to 4chan. You see what the fuck these people are on about, okay? Or Twitter. Now that Twitter is poll, you know, it's not that much of a distinction these days either way. What was the point that I was trying to make? Oh yeah, I think you could fairly argue that this is a material conditions thing, okay? Certain social and technological conditions make it much easier for societies to be reactionary than others, right? In a feudal society where every family is 57 kids, half of them die of you know, malaria or cholera or whatever the before they turn 5, and society is very like hierarchical and rigid and structured, and communication is very limited. I think it's easy to be homophobic nowadays with the internet. Nah, I have a feeling that even countries like Saudi Arabia are going to have limited like protections for queer people sometime within our lifetime. Things might destabilize. I mean, you know, climate disasters and so on. Maybe in the future it's not going to be the case, but I think that there's just kind of an inevitability to it. Once everyone has the ability to communicate freely online, everyone has the ability to like share their experiences, and you find out just how connected we all are. It's just really hard to keep the gay shit in the bag, you know? And to that point, I think that even if the Supreme Court does make conversion therapy mandatory legal in all states, like that is to say states can't ban it, the Supreme Court prevents states from banning conversion therapy, states still might be able to ban like more pernicious forms of it. They just can't ban like broadly therapy that is meant to change one's identity. They would have to ban certain practices within that therapy. And also, it's not going to be popular, okay? So many young people are gay and trans. This shit is like conversion therapy was unpopular back in the 1990s. It was broadly maligned even back then. The world has gotten a lot gayer since then, and it's not going back. This is only going to make them more unpopular. A lot of people will suffer, but most importantly, not me, because I'm 31. Shit is so different now. Yeah. Even early in my lifetime, the way gay people were treated was so different. Can somebody red pill us non-Christians on what the conversion therapy is? Do you think that red pill just means to be made aware of something? The word you're looking for is inform. Can somebody inform us non-Christians on what conversion therapy is? And it's not just a Christian practice. I mean, in America it usually is, but there are versions of it in other countries with other religions. It just means trying to convert somebody out of being gay or trans. Yes, usually through literal torture. Yeah, for sure.